Every Which Way edits came on my For You page.
Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of Every Which Way, I used to be deeply obsessed with that show.
Too.
Hey guys, I'm your host Alexis.
And I'm your co-host Truk.
Sit back and relax because you're in good company. Oh my goodness, so episode 2 of our summer series.
Yes.
As you can see, we're in a new location.
Correct.
I apologize for any background noise or anything you hear.
We have decided to, switch it up every time we film in the summer location, make it spicy before we go back to studio.
And right now we're currently near a parking lot, so that's fun.
It's giving youth, It's fun and spontaneous.
So let's hope that no one comes and takes us away.
Correct. So today we were planning to talk about fandoms.
Yes, and I know I personally have been a part of many fandoms. I'm still in a lot of fandoms. I literally was just at a con in my city like last weekend.
Ooh.
It was amazing. I spent way too much money, but I had such a good time.
Okay, but like all the merch, what did you get?
Oh my goodness. I got keychains, I got stickers, I've got pins, I got like little felt characters. I've never seen that before.
Like the little tiny plushie.
Sort of.
Plushies.
They were so cute. Honestly, I got way too much of everything. A lot of posters. I just had the time of my life. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, wait, I'm glad you had fun. It was like a 3-day con. Yeah, over the weekend. Yes, you told me about it. You had cute cosplay too.
Yes, thank you. I dressed up as Angel from Chainsaw Man, so if you know, you know.
So, speaking of Angel from Chainsaw Man, oh my god, the wires. How do you think, like, different fandoms affect how you are today?
Okay, I would say that the different fandoms I was a part of growing up and still are very much a part of now shaped, like, some of my friendships. In one instance, can you guys hear that? Oh, the pleasures of filming outside. Back to the topic, though. 100% it shaped the clothes I ended up wearing / wanting to buy, the friendships that I've made or seeked out, and even, like, my own personal style a bit, because sometimes I know I really wanted to emulate some of my favorite characters, and that would just come through. And even, like, the music I listen to, like, I would make playlists based off characters because it was just so much fun to me. And of course, like, books inspire, like, sometimes they release books based off characters, or of course I spent way too much money on manga. I still do. I still do, but honestly I feel like it kind of seeps into nearly every aspect of my life. What about you, Truk?
Before I go into how it seeps into my how it affects my life, shout out to your top outfit today. Show the camera. She's in all green. Look at that. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Bro, I didn't watch Avatar: The Last Airbender until quarantine. So
let me just take this mic because I first watched it on Netflix when I was 8 years old, and it changed my life.
It was really good. I'm not saying it's not good.
It's amazing. I know. I had a friend in high school who it went on Netflix like during 2020 quarantine, and I basically was like, now you can finally watch the show. We can finally talk about it, and she loved it because of course she did.
It's too good.
Avatar is just a show I constantly revisit. Like, I just love the show and the characters, and shout out to the movie I heard we're getting.
Yes, I did hear about that.
I'm so excited. Like, Zuko, your solo movie's gonna eat.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Speaking of which, have you seen the, like, little comics manga that came out after the show?
I read all of them. Don't play with me. I had to know what happened with Zuko and his mom and everything around that storyline. I actually read them well after I'd watched the show because I didn't know they existed for a long time. So I read those when I was like high school. They were a good time too. I honestly just adore the world building of the entire show. It's so well done, and not all shows or like media is able to do that. So, like, shout out to Avatar.
Yeah, shout out to Avatar for real. But yeah, speaking about your question earlier, just going back to that, I feel like I don't incorporate as much fandom behavior into my life. I feel like I view fandoms as a way of consuming, like a way of consumption. So I really enjoy watching edits that people make, enjoying all the art and creative things that the fandom creates.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to touch on that point. I literally have so many screen recorded edits of whatever it was.
Anything.
Instagram, TikTok, them editors eat the fan art. Incredible. I love when they take a character and they kind of reimagine them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It just came
It's
out.
on my watch list.
It was a really good time, but I remember thinking to myself, I've seen fan art of them where people make them into like humans or like teenage boys, and it's just like really fun to like see. I hope you guys can still hear me. But anyway, I just was thinking about that, and I was like, I just love how creative people are when they really love something.
But yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of being in a fandom is like it's some sort of community essentially, and we all get to pull together all of our creative ideas, fun headcanons, theories, and like it's such a nice place to be, and it's such a nice thing to be a part of.
Wait, speaking of headcanons, I want to say I'm in the Harry Potter fandom. It's very deep. It's insane, guys. You guys are really creative. I love you there. But there's so many headcanons that people have come up with that I forget what is canon versus fanon at some point.
Sometimes you just live in what reality you believe in, and that's the way I choose to live.
Honestly. And just jumping around talking about like different fandoms people love. I want to say this has been a really great summer for anyone into like animated stuff because we had Spider-Man, we had the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, I was having the time of my life on TikTok when Spider-Man dropped. The edits.
Have you seen all the spider sonas?
Wait, explain.
So all the artist community made a bunch of spider sonas where they created themselves or their OC as Spider-Man.
Yes, I've seen those everywhere.
It's so good.
I remember thinking, okay, one thing that really really wanted, like, I am not good at drawing, guys, but I wanted to learn so bad, I still do, just so I could draw myself with my favorite characters. Like, on a real note, I want to draw myself with them. Like, I remember one of my friends from high school for my birthday, she drew me as a waterbender, and I literally still have it. Like, it was one of the best gifts because it just made me so happy.
This is why, guys, I'm such an adamant supporter of, like, we need the arts in life because it's what keeps the world going, in terms of, like, filling our hearts. You know what I mean? It's cheesy, but...
Oh, absolutely. Now, okay, talking about fandoms, we've talked about, like, a lot of the good parts, but fandom behaviors and a little beyond that, are there any fandoms that you love, right? Or you love, like, whatever it is, but you didn't necessarily want to say you love just because of the people associated or the fans of, like, the said media? Because for me, and mind you guys, I love My Hero Academia, but some of y'all are wild, and it's a little too much at times. I don't say I don't love it. I claim it, but I feel like I have to make a distinction when I talk about it.
I'm not gonna lie, Alexis. When I first found out that you like My Hero Academia, I did side-eye you a little bit. I will be so honest. I saw your outfit 8. I saw your Instagram post, and I was like, oh.
That's what I'm talking about. You see how disrespected? And mind you, I'd already known Truk for months at that point. And she still had the, oh my goodness.
I don't know all of you.
She still had the audacity to be like, oh. And that's for the bad rep you've given My Hero Academia. Thank you a lot. Everybody, thank you. You know how hard it is out here just to be, like, a supporter of it? It's so hard. But I just want to say, I think it comes from, like, some people just loving it a little too deeply. And there's, like, a lack of boundaries that sometimes, like, I know there was this one account I loved, and she would draw, like, original fan art for the show. And, like, it was like she made their own Instagrams for each character. It was really fun. And she would, like, have them comment on each other's Instagrams. It was just, like, a fake little world she made. But she ended up shutting down her accounts. Or, actually, I don't know their pronouns. So I'm assuming she. Could be they, he. But they ended up shutting down their accounts because people were DMing them, like, I feel like I am so-and-so character. Like, I need this account. Please give it to me. Or, like, really, like, out-of-pocket stuff.
Oh.
And it became like just a lot for them to handle, and I remember I was so upset because I loved it. Was just like really fun.
Wow.
And I feel like it was never really that serious, but I'm just like, people can just take it to like levels of weirdness. Oh, and one like last thing, I just heard like a lot of stories before I got into certain fandoms, specifically like My Hero, about weird things that would go on within the fandom that I missed, and I'm like, I'm happy I came late.
Speaking on the fact that like there's a little bit like there's a lack of boundaries and there's like an over attachment to some characters, I also feel like there's like this pipeline of certain fandoms to different fandoms. For example, the Genshin Impact community, I I play that game and I know some people will side eye me for that. I used to love that game when it first came out in like 2020. That was like my go-to quarantine game, and there are a lot of creeps on that game who, you know, fetishize Asian women, fetishize children, or, you know, and they kind of like give a very shallow version of people of color on that game. So, yes, there are very problematic things to it, but I enjoyed, you know, like the game and just the aspect of it. And I just remember like hearing very problematic things about the community, and I'm like, yo, this ain't me. But yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's funny you mentioned that because when I was at con, there was so much like Genshin Impact, just like posters and pins, and for a long time I thought it was like an anime, and I said, oh, I'm gonna watch this, and then I found it was a game, and I was like, y'all are this like obsessed over it's just a game?
It's all about the lore.
I think
lore, story plot.
Honestly, tell me more about that after, because I'm so curious. I've just seen like the characters and they look fun, and I'm like, why isn't this like more? I want it to be like a show or like further media so I can explore it.
Girl, I'm gonna tell you this right now. They really should come out with an animation. It's so, if you've seen their character trailers, their lore trailers for when new updates come, it's so good. But we can talk about that another day.
Wait, okay, and talking about fandoms, I realized we haven't even listed out like some of our fandoms. And this is just the top of my head, so
Yeah, go
I
first.
forget anything like, no, I still love you, I just forgot you. First of all, I think just like broad for me, anime in general. I got into it via my sister, actually into it, because I first watched like an anime back in middle school, and I was like, oh, this is fun, but it felt like too broad of a genre to like delve into at 12.
There are genres within it.
Right. So then my sister kept pushing me to watch Attack on Titan. That was like the first one that got me into everything. And I remember like for the first few episodes, like I was like, oh, okay, this is cool and all, but I don't know if it's for me. And then by like episode 5, I was hooked. And honestly, I have a whole list of all the different animes I've watched. I'm not gonna name every single one because we'd be here all day. But honorable mentions, of course, I've already talked about My Hero. Another honorable mention, of course, now you know AOT. I feel like those are very popular ones that people just absolutely love. We have Escaping Infinity. We have Banana Fish Broke My Heart. Oh! Shout out to Banana Fish. Oh my goodness, I feel like the list goes on and on. Of course, there's Fruit Baskets, which was like a fun time. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I should have.
Lie. I never finished Fruit Basket.
You're dead wrong for that. Okay, I honestly almost didn't finish because she didn't end up with who I wanted to, and then I didn't want her with the cat.
Who would you want her with?
I wanted her with it's been so long since I watched the guy like he had gray hair.
The mouse.
Y'all, you're gonna be.
I know.
They're gonna be like y'all. They're gonna be like y'all aren't even real fans. I swear. When I was in it, I was in it. Literally. What else do we have? We have. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to like think of some of my favorites, but I've watched. Okay, y'all are gonna flame me. I liked Naruto Shippuden more than Naruto. Please, I don't want the comment section to eat me up. I'm so happy Truke's like, okay, whatever that means. Whatever that means. Of course, Spike's Family, it's just fun. Like, there's so many. But outside of that, like cartoons, me and Truke both, you know, have a shared mutual love of Miraculous. Miraculous I've been watching since I was like in middle school, and I can acknowledge that it's a hot mess of a show, but I'm still tuned in, so they've got something on me. The new movie dropped. We still haven't even talked about that with each other. Of course, Avatar, because I mentioned it. I'm trying to think of, like, when I was younger, I was into a lot of cartoons. So basically, like, Danny Phantom, Johnny Test, like, all of those as kids I would eat up. But now, I don't know. I feel like it's more anime-based. What about you, Truk?
Let's see. Okay, I had a huge. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to a lot more middle school time because I was a lot more active in fandoms then than I am now. I feel like now I'm just on TikTok. But back then I used to be really into like Ever After High, Monster High. Yeah, yeah. Littlest Pet Shops, you know, little animals. I used to be an LPS tuber and everything. I was into My Little Pony. I was into, you know, Miraculous Ladybug, like you said. Um, I was really into Webtoon back in the day, and there was a lot of stories on Webtoons, so I can't list every single story I've read. But if I were to give a recommendation, y'all should read Odd Girl Out. It's still ongoing, but the story is really heartwarming, and it speaks to a lot of like real life insecurities and issues. Or Makeup Remover, that one's good too. But anyways, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to think. A lot of games. I was big into. I don't know if this is considered a fandom, but like the gaming community back in like 2015, 2014, like, you know, the Minecraft YouTubers, I was really deep into that back in middle school. And yeah, I think those were my main fandoms that I can think of.
I just feel like we're absolutely, when editing this video, we're going to be like, oh, we forgot to mention. I just know it's going to happen. There's something that we're just not at the top of our head. We should have written this in advance, but, you know.
We're just here for the vibes.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I think overall we're trying to say, like, we've been a part of a lot of fandoms. Like, some I'm not as into as I was. Like, I remember as a kid, I used to really be obsessed with, like, Scooby-Doo. Oh. I still like Scooby-Doo, but am I sitting here watching it every Saturday? No. And there's some that kind of grow with me, like Spider-Man. I'm still very much into Spider-Man. And it's kind of grown because the universe has grown. And I love when that happens. I love when you can, like, watch something back and it still hits. Like, okay, I know this is not exactly on topic, but speaking about, like, things we loved as kids and they come back, like reboots. Okay. How they have, like, you know, like the iCarly reboot, or like they just had that Zoe 101 movie, and sometimes the reboot like hits and you're like, oh, this is like what I think they'd be doing as adults, and I really do enjoy it. Or sometimes you're like, you know what, this is better when I was just like a little kid and enjoying it.
Okay, so earlier I mentioned like LPS. There was this really iconic show, LPS Popular, back in the day, and you know, I am insane because LPS is coming back in 2004, and I will be hitting up Walmart and Target. But the fandom is realiving itself, coming back from the dead.
Wait, girl, you said it's coming back in 2004?
Yes, 2024.
Oh, I was like, what is she talking about? It should have been back.
2024, it's coming back in stores, the old models. I'm gonna go crazy in the stores. But the community is like coming back from the dead at this moment, and I'm on TikTok and I'm seeing this all unfold. I'm so pumped, you don't understand. But you go back and you watch those old shows that you used to watch when you were like in middle school and you were younger, and you're like, damn, it's not that good. But like the all the memories and the nostalgia you have with it really like keeps you hooked with the community.
I think my favorite thing is when I go back and it does hold up. But it does break my heart when I go back. We have people just looking at us. It breaks my heart when I go back and I like media or books or whatever it is, and it doesn't. Like, it's not as good. And it was like very much, if I had just watched it in this very moment, I would have just kind of disregarded it and just been about my day. And that's a sad thing for me to think about, because it was something that felt so vital to me, or just so encompassing to who I felt like I was. Like, you know how you do like a icebreaker, and they're like, oh, what are some of your interests? And you like name, oh, I like this and this and that. And now it's just something that you once enjoyed. And I think that's kind of like growing up and, you know, moving past certain things. But then also when you just kind of does stick with you and you still do love it, that's like a nice thing to have.
I also want to say, like, speaking about growing up, I want to talk about how fast the media is going nowadays, and how there's so many different fandoms and shows that are really popular and then they fall out really quickly. Like, I don't know if this counts, but like Euphoria was really popular, and then afterwards I didn't really hear much about it. What are your thoughts?
Okay, I feel like the whole thing with Euphoria, I never watched it, so I can't speak completely on it, but I knew like the entire plot of season 2 because of TikTok. They would do like Sunday, like whatever. I think it aired like Sundays, whatever day it aired. Like people would do like their whole deep dives, and they would just unpack it, and it was very popular. And I just feel like when something's airing week to week, that's also kind of something people have lost. When something's airing week to week, it kind of stretches out longer, and people are like talking about it, and they can, you know, break down an episode. But when it kind of just drops all at once, it's like, okay, that was fun. And I think the hype can last for like a good month or so, but then it just kind of dwindles.
Yeah, and it just happens a lot quicker now with how many other trends are showing up. But I think that's why our generation really clings on to like that nostalgic feeling. We're just like, oh, that was so nostalgic. I love this.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's very much like rose-colored glasses.
Oh, 100%. Like a lot of rose-tinted glasses. Literally, it was so random. Last night, I got every which way edits came on my For You page.
Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of Every Which Way, I used to be deeply obsessed with that show.
Too.
And I don't want to disrespect like the crew, the actors, anyone part of it, the writers, but I looked back at that thing and I was like, this was a very badly edited, acted, and written show. That show was bad.
The effects,
but
crazy.
Man, was I obsessed.
Oh yeah.
I was deeply obsessed. I remember I was so mad when it was like Jackson Daniel. Were those the guys?
Yes.
And I wanted her with Daniel bad. And they had this whole thing where Daniel forgot his memories and lived in the jungle, and like I remember that. They had me. I was so distressed at like a 9 or 10 or whatever age I was, and I was just like, how could we do this? He was so clearly the right choice. And it was like this whole thing, like them jumping in the pool at the end of the season. Why do we remember so much?
Girl, I don't know how you remembered it. The only reason that I'm nodding to what you're saying now was because I saw all the edits last night.
Because it was so traumatizing to me. I was so taken aback. Oh my goodness. I think of like really obscure like Disney or Nick shows, or like just random internet shows that I watched, and like somehow people be like, do you remember this? And it just comes all flooding back in my head.
Yeah.
Like there was this one.
Like they flipped the switch.
Yes, so like there was this one show in Nick about this random girl who used to be a baker or something, and I'm just remembering it because I think she did like a crossover with Every Which Way at some point. You got it. We got to Google that.
We're gonna go check that after this episode. No. Oh my gosh, what were your thoughts on crossover episodes?
Oh my goodness, those were so fun.
I was so geeked.
Okay, the one in my head that I'm thinking of particularly was like Suit Life with Zack and Cody, Hannah Montana, and Wizards of Waverly Place. Are you kidding me right now? Like, I think that's one of the, like the most iconic crossovers. Of course, I know I was not as big into like iCarly or like Victorious,
yeah.
but they had a crossover that was like
They
a
did.
big deal.
I was really into the iCarly and Victorious thing, and I was hella geeked when Victorious and iCarly had a crossover, and the whole episode where Carly's boyfriend was cheating on her with Tori, and those two paired up to like call him out on it. Crazy.
Yes. Oh my goodness, you're making me remember all these different things. I think we've kind of lost like really good crossover episodes because, at least for me, the media that I'm watching, there's not going to be any crossovers in between it.
Yeah, like anime doesn't have that besides collaborations.
With like artists, which is like fun, but it's not the same as like, oh my goodness, Deku, it got transported to the Titan universe. And he has to fight. I mean, shoot, there are fan fictions of that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think those are our new crossovers. AO3. Like, just scroll on AO3, you're going to find something good.
Yo, can we talk a little bit about fan fiction? It's going to be a big deep dive.
Okay. We have to talk about it briefly, but one thing I will say, I am not ashamed to say I still love fan fiction. I'm still reading it. I think it started with Wattpad, and then it was AO3, obviously. A little bit of fanfic next, but I don't really go in there as often if I can avoid it, just because I like AO3 setup so much more.
It's so nicely organized with the tags.
Literally, I will literally go on TikTok and look for recommendations on AO3, and I don't care if people shame me for that. They got some good recommendations on TikTok, okay? They will do full video length, dedicated.
Bro, I saw this Genshin Impact fanfiction on there before that had art paired with it on Twitter. So this writer went on Twitter and saw this artist do this thing, and they were inspired by it. So it was all connected, and I went search through all the material.
I love when that happens. There's a few fan fictions I've read that they literally have like art in it, and I'm geeked. It's good. It's like a.
I love artistic people.
Literally, oh my goodness, we could do a whole episode on like just fan fiction. You would look at us sideways, but I don't care. I just
part of the fun, really.
I will literally be like, I haven't read a single book this month, but I read a 20,000 word fan fiction. I'm literally reading one right now, and it just jumps to whatever I love. But I will say, like, speaking on like fan fiction, a little bit similar but not quite. Have you ever seen like playlists for like characters, or like for like why they got a playlist like POV, you're competing in the UA school festival, and it's this whole dope playlist, and it's like you're competing against so and so character, and they got it going, and I'm like, okay. I remember when like I was working out a lot, and I would play like the freaking My Hero Academia theme, but it was specifically like the theme he worked out to, and I would be like, you want to get ripped, right?
Oh my gosh. So yes, I have seen them. I haven't really interacted much with the playlists though. But it's just like a me thing. I'm not really a music person. But recently I've been reading this manga with these two, little high school girls, and they're really into like bands. So at the end of the manga, the artist and the writer would put like all these songs in. I haven't listened to it yet, but a lot of people on TikTok have compiled the playlist on Spotify. Maybe I'll be there, but like,
please, it'll enhance your experience.
I am actually interested in doing it.
No, it's so fun. Like the playlist people make, the fan fiction people's write, the art. I just love creative people. I love being a part of the fandoms. I love having people freak out about silly things that I freak out about. It makes me feel like connected to little strangers, and I mean that in the least creepy way possible. It's just nice to know that other people like the same things as you as deeply, and they care about it as deeply as you do. So I think that's why like getting to go to con and getting to see all these amazing like artists and people dressed, it was so cool seeing people cosplay like their favorite characters and like really put it to justice, and people be like, can I have a photo with you? This is so cool. Like I just love people who are like me. Like what can I say? Like just like nerds at heart.
And honestly, like, try not to let the bad apples in the group like defer you from a certain thing that you like, because at the end of the day, you choose what you like consume. So you don't have to put yourself through the negative like community drama. You can just live life and play the game, watch the show, listen to the music, read the mangas, read the books. You are so valid.
Yes, okay, and as we're wrapping up for this episode, instead of doing a song, I'm actually gonna do like a few shows I recommend you watch.
Yeah, I want to do the same.
Sorry. So here are some animes or just shows in general I recommend you watching. Obviously, if you haven't watched Avatar, you're like 15 years behind. Do that now, and I say that with love. I'm trying to help you out. But just some animes that I think you guys should totally check out if you want to. This is kind of hard because I want to just recommend a few, but there's so many that I could say. Okay. You're probably going to look at me crazy for this title, but this is actually a wholesome, fun anime. Buddy Daddies. Y'all, no! Please, I didn't make the title! Make the title! You literally look it up. Don't even get on me.
What is it?
Buddy Daddies. Skip and Loafer, guys. Skip and Loafer was so fun and so cute. You guys should also read the manga to that. And,
Oh,
thank you.
I have seen this.
Thank you, because she was looking at me like you're a freak.
Oh no, this was I haven't watched it, but I've seen clips.
It was really cute. It was really cute. I'm gonna say my last one is going to be. If I pronounce this wrong, they're gonna flame me online. So I just need to Google this real quick.
Go ahead.
I think it's Code Geass, but I'm not positive that's how you pronounce it. But I just remember when I got to the ending of that show, I was so gagged. I was like, Code Geass, guys.
Good job.
So okay, to wrap it up, my three are Buddy Daddies. We're gonna also have Skip and Loafer, and then Code Geass. And I hope you check out one of them at least, and let me know what you think down below in the comments. So Truk, it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm not much of an anime watcher. I'm more of a webtoon reader, and so I'm gonna recommend 3 webtoons that I really enjoyed. So earlier I said Odd Girl Out. The second one is going to be Makeup Remover. It talks a lot about like the beauty industry and how society treats women and just like people who don't fit the beauty standard. And then also A Good Day to Be a Dog. It's just a cute little romantic webtoon that's just for fun. The author is great. One of their other webtoons made it into a K-drama, but I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. Their other webtoon was See You in My 19th Life, or Meet You in My 19th Life.
My mom's literally watching that on Netflix.
Your mom has taste. So yeah, I just finished reading the webtoon, but I also recommend A Good Day to Be a Dog. Same author, very great. So yeah, those are my 4 recommendations.
And yes, I'm realizing we didn't even get, okay, I'm more into K-dramas than Truk. We didn't even touch on that, but honestly, we might just have a part 2 for you guys, because there's a lot to fandoms that we didn't even cover.
There's so many things on the internet.
Really, we could do an episode dedicated to, like, our favorite one, but that is a wrap on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to us, and comment down your favorite fandoms down below.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And any recommendations for webtoons, mangas, shows, cartoons, playlists, like, fan fiction?
We'll be consuming that shit.
Trust. Bye, guys.
Bye. You gotta run.